Red Ray Gun Limited presents
the entertainment highlight of the week. The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello.
Hello.
A bit slow on the response there.
Yes, I was distracted by what appears to be a video of Donald Trump playing baseball that just popped up on Twitter, which was open before I switched tabs.
Quick, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good night.
Good to be here.
Good desk.
Good fish finger sandwich I just had.
Good lord.
Good microphone.
Goodness.
Loch Ness. The relentless battle there.
Relentless Loch Ness. That was the Loch Ness game. It's not about Loch Ness and it's not a game.
But this is the Benji and Nick Show, your number one cult television podcast in the world, quite frankly.
We've decided. Yes.
We've decided, yeah, but if you can't decide these things yourself, then what's the point?
Yes. What is the point?
What is the point in you? And luckily this is where, I don't know why I said luckily, this is where we talk about cult television, TV from the past,
yes.
TV from the future, not TV from the future. Well, today we are, it's set in the future, isn't it? Today we're talking about Fireball XL5.
I should mention I'm not Benji.
And I'm not Nick.
Fireball XL5.
Yeah, Steve Zodiac.
Jerry Anderson created, yes, puppets. Super Marionation. Planet 46 was the name of the episode. Is that right?
There's 45 other ones which we've not even seen yet.
Yeah, where are they? They don't feature. Anyway, we'll be talking about that later, and we'll be joined in a new Across the Ocean feature, or should it be Across the Pond? What should we say? By special guest reviewer Shelley Dean, who'll be joining us.
That's right. She's a great friend of ours, and she'll be giving us her thoughts on what we've been watching. Definitely one to watch, or listen to rather.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? And as usual, we'll be talking to Jamie Anderson, who's the son of Jerry Anderson, who created and did he write that episode of Fireball XL5? Well, he certainly wrote some of it. He's a dear friend to us both, and as ever, we're not sure why we're talking to him. It's just one of those things.
I just wanted to find out if he'd written that episode. And I realised I was listening to you talking and writing, and for some reason I wrote Fireball XL5, but instead of writing it XL as in letters, I wrote it like Microsoft Excel.
Microsoft XL5. In a moment, we'll be doing your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. By doing, I mean reading them out and reacting to them. That was me reacting. But first, I should mention that the Benji and Nick Show is proud to be sponsored by The Village Shop, the online e-store run by the Unmutual website and Coit Media Limited, your one-stop shop for all things Prisoner, Dangerman and Patrick McGowan. Including DVDs, Blu-rays, books, CDs, audio dramas, clothing and clothes. What is the matter with you? Hello, I can't read. Photos, homeware and gifts. New items are added weekly. Benji and Nick Show listeners can enjoy a 10% discount on all purchases by using the code LOCHNESS10, LOCHNESS10, no spaces, all in capital letters, the letters. Obviously the numbers can't be in capital letters. Use that code at the checkout, for pity's sake. A further donation will also be made to Hope House Children's Hospice at no cost to you. Address is www.theprisonershop.co.uk. Let's have a look and recommend something from there. And while Benji's looking it up, I just mentioned that, of course, there's You Old Fool, which is all in capital letters with no spaces, which is another code you can use to enjoy a 40% discount for the book The Callan Files, all about that fantastic 60s and 70s spy series Callan, starring Iwa Wiwa.
Very well said. Well, this week we're going to be looking at The Hard Way, the DVD that's on sale on there with Patrick McGowan and Lee Van Cleef.
Oh, wow.
That's right there, yeah. I mean, what a tour de force casting.
Yeah, from The Good, the Bad and the Ugly.
Correct. Filmed in and around Dublin, multi-award-winning John Borman, Hope and Glory, what a film, and Excalibur as executive producer, and making use of Brian Eno and his innovative ready-made soundtrack. So there we go.
Wow, when was that released? What year was the film made?
I have absolutely no idea, I'm afraid. I can have a look for you. It's a network DVD, so already you've got the
A seal of approval.
Seal of quality and approval. The Hard Way. There's one in 1991. I'm pretty sure it isn't that one. 1979. There we go. It looks quite good. Definitely one to watch.
There's one to be recommended. You also might like to have a look at nicholasbriggs.com. See if there's anything you fancy buying there. We won't bother looking now, but that's my website. And I keep moaning that no one goes there or buys anything. And by moaning about it, it sometimes inspires people out of pity. Pity. I have no understanding of the word. Sorry. And now your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. Shall I read this first one?
Go for it.
Don't know why, but anyway. The subject line is opening tunes and titles, and it was sent to us on the 24th of July in the year of our Lord 0036. It's from Neil Allen. Hello, Neil. Hi, guys. Hope you're both doing well, and Nick's house move has gone to plan. It did, although moving house just so Ben Briggs has some new places to play hide and seek in seems a little excessive. It does, doesn't it? Ooh. Seagull just coming past. And still seagulls, don't you worry. Incidentally, the best hide and seekers were the Silurians, who hid in some caves in Derbyshire for millions of years till the Third Doctor found them. That's the real reason why Liz left him. He kept banging on about what a great hide and seeker he was. That's a little reference to Doctor Who and the Silurians from 1970, starring John Pertwee and Caroline John, and Nicholas Courtney, if you want to throw that in, and Geoffrey Palmer as well, and Peter Miles.
I mean, they're all in there.
I could go on, and oh god, the guy from Porridge.
Music by Carrie Blyton.
Who's the guy from Porridge? You know, Mackay.
Oh, Mackay. I can picture his face now. No, it's not.
It's ridiculous.
Mark Bonar, who was the new Mackay.
236 today, 236. Anyhow, the main reason I wanted to contact you two was to ask about TV show opening titles. A few years ago, we've been doing it that long on the podcast. Nick mentioned a show called 1990 starring Edward Woodward, Iwa Wuwa, the aforementioned. I've only just got around to watching it. What? The show's not too bad. Not too bad, it's brilliant. But what is really amazing is the opening titles and music, which neatly sum up what the show's about. It's very true. A dystopian future where Britain's run by a really dull civil service, and no one is very happy. The titles really are one of the best things about the show. Well, they're good, but I mean the show's great. But yeah, have you seen it, Benji?
I've not seen it. I've never had a chance. Is it out yet? I think it was released a year ago or something, wasn't it?
Even longer ago. I don't know. And you're looking down into a room from the ceiling. And the room gets smaller, and it's got a fantastic theme tune. I love it. Lots of TV shows in the 60s, 70s, and 80s had really memorable opening titles. Doctor Who, Claudius, The Avengers, Coronation Street, even comedies like Dad's Army and The Good Life had clever and catchy tunes and visuals. Why is it that on TV shows made today that they don't bother with putting any effort into the start of their shows, and they either go with a bit of text and dull music or no titles at all? Surely there must be some musicians and graphic designers out there who could do a better job. Benji, for one. Anyhow, just wanted to get your opinions on the matter. Thanks again for putting out such a great little pod. All the best, Neil. Thank you, Neil, sent from his iPhone. Well, I think this was tackled on BBC News the other day. They were talking about it, and I think the reason why such a big thing isn't made about starting sequences anymore is because most people watch television on streaming services now, and a lot of them offer the option to skip the intro.
So true.
I mean, that said, there's still... I seem to remember the Westworld title sequence was really quite striking. They go on longer, actually, don't they? Because they have to sort of include all the names of the star actors, which TV shows didn't used to do. And also,
I thought Class was a good one. I know that it's really like it's a bit of a...
I don't remember that.
It goes on and on. It's like it's really not what you expect the title sequence to be. It's really like in your face, kind of rocky, but like I quite liked it. I thought it was very different.
A thing they do on Netflix is they sometimes have a full title sequence, which they maybe give you in the first episode, or sometimes they don't. And then it's not until episode 3 they suddenly whap you over the head with the full title sequence. And they don't do it every episode. I think Lost in Space did that, the revamp of Lost in Space.
There's some quite good ones actually. I think a lot of the more American stuff, there's still a level of that. I mean, thinking of things that title sequences that I love, like Vikings, The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, are all three very different styles, but all of them in which I don't forward them because I enjoy them. I mean, I was watching, I don't know why I've suddenly started watching it, this absolutely rubbish, and I mean rubbish. I'm not a big cartoon watcher anyway. But it was this late 80s, early 90s cartoon series called Prince Valiant. And I love all knights and all that, so I was quite interested. But the theme tune is so not right for what it is.
Really?
It's classic. Yeah, well, it's just like a cartoon about, a young boy who's a prince who goes off to find Camelot. It's sort of things that I quite enjoy. But the theme tune is like the sort of 80s power ballad. It's all, you gotta find your way to dinner. And it's like, why did they choose this? It's really bizarre. But
that sounded like Vic Reeves doing the club singer.
I know what you mean. But it's just, I'm just thinking, why did they choose this? But there is no rhyme or reason.
I think I probably said a few weeks back that my rule for watching Life on Mars was that I had to watch the title sequence twice.
Great title sequence.
And turn it up the second time. Oh, it's great, isn't it? Find my way home. Am I the dead or mad? He didn't sound like that at all.
Am I mad in a coma, or have I really travelled back in time?
I want to find my way home.
Home. Hello. Finding my way home.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, do you want to battle your way through this next email?
Happily. This one's from Michael Herbert, sent on the 22nd of the 7th, 2020, in the year of our Lord, 1046. What happened in 1046, you may be asking? Well, we're going to find out right now. 1046.
It was before the Norman invasion.
Certainly was, yeah. Norman Wisdom action. Before he came over here.
Oh, Mr. Grimsdale, I've come to invade.
Oh, Mr. Grimsdale! Ethelred, Bishop of Worcester, leads the troops from England on an unsuccessful punitive raid against the Welsh leaders Gruffydd ap. I'm not even going to attempt to say these Welsh names.
Handed now.
Because I would just offend everybody.
In Wales.
But yeah, there we go. So Queen Constance was born.
Constance.
Constance, Queen of Castile. And Leon. And then I'll give you a death, and then we'll crack on.
Okay.
What's the best? Let's have a look at these desks.
King Engelbert Humperdinck was stabbed in the head with a painting palette.
Ow, my eye! Well, I'll give you Lifing, Bishop of Winchester. He died. How did he die? Let's find out.
Did he die? He actually died. He died, he did. Yeah.
I think he just died. He says he chose to be buried at Tavistock Abbey.
He died.
He was a pluralist, and never enjoyed a good reputation. That's all we know.
Well, does that mean he had a good reputation, but you just didn't enjoy it?
Yeah. You're such a nice man. Oh, stop going on about it.
I don't enjoy this at all.
I'm a nasty man. You've got horrible shoes, and your hair smells of candle wax. Just a very unpleasant man. That's just to say, just really quickly, there was a wonderful, I don't know what I'm talking about. We're talking about history, and I don't care because I like to talk. But I was looking through my family history,
to the right place. Yes.
And I found this ancient old record of like one of my earliest ancestors, and it was about how he ended up in in court for all kind of things, and he was threatening bishops
on a
for
record,
land.
like a 45 or a 33.
33. But he was threatening loads of people for extra land. But the best thing is, in this record, there's this wonderful account of him, in which it just says Clifford is a thoroughly unpleasant man. Just thought, how brilliant! Like, what have I taken away from this individual that I've never met who has my blood? Only that he is a thoroughly unpleasant man. And that apparently he used to fight a lot of people and kill a lot of people.
My goodness! So
there we go.
Morning, Clifford. Get off.
What an unpleasant man. In fact, a thoroughly unpleasant man. Anyway, sorry, Michael. I'm completely and utterly going off.
Yeah, where were we? Michael Herbert, yes.
Hi, Nicholas and Benji, the unpleasant man. No, Benji and Nicholas and Benji. I replied to one of those Twitter questions, what was the first single you bought? With the cool answer, Oh Well, by Fleetwood Mac, 1969. but that wasn't true.
Oh.
I am pretty certain that it was a Stingray EP. Into Action with Troy Tempest, produced by Century 21 Records. The strapline was 21 minutes of adventure. Very cool. And on the back it says, this mini-album has been specially recorded so that you yourself can play the part of Troy Tempest and Phones in these thrilling stories. The voice artists were Ray Barrett, Robert Easton, and Don Mason. Yeah. Very cool, isn't it? Being children, we used to play it over and over again to the point where we knew every word. There was another Stingray EP called Marina Speaks, in which I assume that Sylvia Anderson plays Marina.
Yeah, I think
There's
she
an
does.
animated version on YouTube, and the link is here.
Should we have a look at
So
it?
Quick wizard through that, yeah.
Let's have a look.
Oh, great, look at that. It's done quite well, though, isn't it?
It's using the TV21 artwork. They're just twitchy little mouths.
Twitchy mouths are great fun. Look at that. God, you know, when I'm hearing that recording, I really want to clean it up because I can hear it hissing. I can hear all the... I could get rid of that like that. Oh. But I'm not going to do it.
That's it. I love that artwork. Brilliant.
It's great. It's classic and gorgeous, isn't it?
So Stingray Marina Speaks. It's on YouTube.
Century 21 Records also produced an EP called The Daleks.
I know.
Which
Did you
was
know
the
about
last
this?
episode of the Chase. I didn't know. The last episode of The Chase, one with the mechanoids. It has some original audio linked with narration. This and some other releases are available on YouTube. I've got to check this out.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I heard it years and years and years ago before I'd seen The Chase.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, look at that. You can hear the
A
record.
huge building at the centre of the city.
Just wait until you hear the Doctor Who theme. Oh, they've messed around with it.
It's very good, though, isn't it?
Hold on. Oh, the version I heard, it's also David Graham doing the narration. The version I heard had that sort of jazzy version of the Doctor Who theme on it.
I think I know the exact one you mean as well. Yeah. How funny, though. Just goes to show that's very obscure, isn't it? I like that a lot. I wonder how much having a copy of the Daleks on a 33 would actually reach today. Yeah. How widely distributed they were. Very interesting, though. It's a good message, that.
Someone gave me a cassette of it in about 1970-something. Yeah. It's
quite early for cassettes as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I had cassettes throughout the 70s, yeah. I was recording Doctor Who on cassettes from Tom Baker's second series.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's cutting edge, you know, cutting edge.
Cutting edge. Of course, you don't have to worry because the first series was recorded on reel-to-reel tape by Davros when he was interviewing the Doctor.
That's right, yes.
So it was all there, you know.
Wow, 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 wow. That was the noise of the torture thing he had lashed up to Harry and Sarah while he was saying... Don't say anything, Doctor! And then the Doctor goes on about the planet Hyperon. A rocket's entirely resistant to Dalek firepower. These are all just made-up stories. Right, because all the rest of it's a documentary. There we are. Did you know that Michael Herbert was the editor of Fantasies of Possibility, the science fiction blog?
Well, if he wasn't then he is now. Highly recommended.
And I've also included the pictures of those albums for you to have a look at. Can you see
They're just beautiful. They'd be lovely on the wall, wouldn't they? Kind of cool.
Yeah. It's so lovely you could stick it on the wall.
I think that was it. I was supposed to write an essay on this leg, but I think I'm going to stick it on the bonnet of my car. That was Vivian from the Young Ones there. Oh. I've got a 12-inch, which I think has one of these Captain Scarlet 33-inch, and on the other side is the a Thunderbird story, which is quite cool.
Yeah. Rightio, look, next email is called a YouTube channel. And it's from an Iron Hunt. It was sent on the 14th, actually, of July in the future, 2144. That's before the Daleks invade.
That's when yogurts take over the earth, isn't it?
Yes, the yogurts have taken. That's what yogurts, sentient yogurts, sound like. Dear Nick and Benji, I thought I'd tell you about a YouTube channel you'll like. It is Dalek6388. You know it, don't you?
I know it very, very well.
Me too. We already know. End of email. No, it is an amazing find for anyone who loves Daleks and has a video that about the Dalek Supreme from Planet of the Daleks and much more. I still watched it again after you sent me the link, even though I'd seen it before. It is still interesting, even if you are interested, a huge fan of the Daleks. I don't understand that sentence, but I'm sure it was meant well. Now a question. What are some of the most dated TV shows and movies you can think of? And what is the most recent horribly dated TV show or movie you can think of? Aniran. Well, that Invasion Earth, which is Jed Mercurio's first published effort, as it were, is so intriguingly awful. I mean, I've got through several episodes of it on YouTube, but it's that's the most dated, most recent one, I would say.
I think a lot of the things from the early 2000s, late 90s have aged terribly, because it's the age where computer graphic, where people are no longer doing real things and relying on computers, but the technology isn't quite there yet. I mean, a great example, I'll tell you something that is terribly dated, is Babylon 5.
Yeah. When
you look at that and you just, the second it goes to a space shot, you just think this is unwatchable. It just looks so rubbish.
That's a series that I tried so hard to get into, and I kept watching it and it was just, it seemed to, I think it was because it's so like Star Trek but so unlike Star Trek all at the same time. It was very much its own thing, and somehow, I don't know, I suppose it's because I'm so steeped in Star Trek, it always seemed like it was taking a wrong turn all the time. I don't know, it's very unfair of me to say that, because I do think it's probably a body of very interesting work.
It's very hard though when there are so many good sci-fi series out there already established by this point, to watch new things and not think that's taking something from this,
Yeah, I mean, sci-fi seemed sort of few and far between round about that time when Babylon 5 started, because Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 started at more or less the same time, didn't they? And funnily enough, they were both series set on a space station at a key strategic point in space. Just thought, oh, Warner Brothers and Paramount have had exactly the same idea, which often happens.
Which is the way it goes.
What about a dated one from way back when? That's we've watched many that are totally.
We've watched
really
so
dated.
many. I mean, yeah.
But we kind of love it for its. We love them for their awfulness.
I think the Tomorrow People is particularly dated in its early episodes. I think that's particularly cruddy. What was it?
Yes, it is, isn't it? It's almost reprehensible.
It's just utterly ghastly. I'm just trying to think of something that was incredible. I find it interesting how there are some shows that seem a lot more dated than the time that they're set. Like, I know I always harp on about it, but like, for example, watching Coronation Street at the moment, and I'm at the tail end of 1989 going on to 1990, and the show just looks so old still. You see it, you think, people didn't look like that then, and it's finally it's starting to change, but it just looks so old-fashioned. I mean, people are still living in houses that look like something out of the 70s.
Wow.
And some people don't have colour television. In fact, some people don't have telephones by this point, and it's like, what, in 1989?
Yeah,
but there are millions.
It's true
of
though. It's incredible.
I found out an interesting thing the other day. But one of my friends, is one of my very close friends' auntie, and I know her really well. She was in Blake 7, interestingly enough, and I had no idea. Yeah, she was in. She was Nicola Kimber, I think, by this point. But she played one of the extras when they were not one of the extras. She played one of the aliens that were like running around in some marshy thing. I don't know. But
narrows it down.
She just said that because she does loads. She was in like Cats for years as like the first run of Cats, and so she's sort of, that's her main thing. But yeah, she was like, oh yeah, I did a Blake 7. It's like, well, that's just a casual thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, well, most people wouldn't be impressed. It's only sad people like us who are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Most people
what made
these
me
days
think
go,
of that.
"What's Blake 7? I've never heard of it. What is it?"
Oh, you mean Blake's 8?
Should we move on to Fireball XL5 Planet 46?
Yeah, why not, eh? Why not, eh?
What year was this made in? It's black and white. Jerry Anderson, Super Marionation.
This was made. Well, it was broadcast in 1962, so probably made in 61, depending on when was it broadcast. October 62, so maybe made in early 62.
Yeah, I was born in 1961. I do remember Fireball XL5 very definitely because, of course, these programs were repeated a lot. I was too young to see it when it first came out. But I always thought of it as something really special and was fascinated by how when it took off on that the Fireball XL5, the rocket takes off along that sort of train line, and then the little thing it's going along on just whizzes off into a field.
It is glorious. I mean, the thing about it that I sort of find...
A pile of them in a field.
Just loads of them. We missed again.
When you watch it again, of course, all the smoke coming out of the back of Fireball XL5, of course, there's a huge shadow across the skyline.
Of course there is, but it's television, isn't it? Bless them.
Television. So, what are your feelings about it?
Well, I'm like you. I think it's really special, and I think actually, I tell you what, there's something about it that I immediately thought when watching it again this time around is how actually it really lends itself to being in black and white. There's something about it which just looks so good, because I think like with the Jerry Anderson stuff, I feel like there's a level of it's the same as kind of what Pixar do, in that everything they tackle helps advance them further in terms of what they're doing. So they start out, they start out with Torchy the Battery Boy, and then moving on to Four Feather Falls and Supercar, and this is like a step up again. And this is like because you've got Supercar is sort of incredibly cartoony in the way everybody looks, whereas this, whilst it's still cartoony, is a bit more towards the level of what we're accustomed to later on.
Yeah, it's a bit more like Thunderbirds, isn't it? It's not too...
I mean,
very Professor
much
Mathematic, he's a bit grotesque, isn't he, in the face?
Yes, he is. He's a relic of Supercar, isn't he? He certainly is that stylisation.
Hey, Steve, don't forget to check the spacematograph.
I think it's just charming. I love it. I think it's one of those things, and you know what I like? I like things when they're good, clean fun. And there's something about this that is just thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, it's incredibly dated, though, isn't it? I mean, the sexism really whaps you over the head, doesn't it? Hey, say, Venus, how about putting some coffee on? And you can imagine her just say, why don't you just shove it up your...
Absolutely. But then having said that, though, Venus is thoroughly irritating because all she ever does is say, Steve. So, she wins the world record for how many variations you can say the word Steve.
Yeah, I know, but again, it's just the sexism thing that she just doesn't have any, although she does sort of, there's a bit where he says, hey, what about that coffee? And she goes, oh, I'm such a tootie. They keep calling each other tootie. What's a tootie, for God's sake? I hope it's nothing rude.
I've never heard it. I've never heard it before, and I've never heard it
Apparently
since.
In Venezuela, it means dog's ass. No. And then so she just, it's like it's her job to get the coffee, and you think, oh, she's going to have to drudge away. And she just presses a button. It automatically comes out of the middle of the table, and the camera sort of zooms into it or tracks into it in a kind of like a cup of coffee and a coffee pot coming up from the middle of the table is like as impressive as Thunderbird 2 coming out of a cave and all the trees moving to one side. You think, how, they've gone from that to that.
The future is now.
But it's my experience of watching it was that after about 7 minutes, I just nearly fell asleep because it was so dull. But I got better and it was fine. So much happens so quickly because they don't bother with any subtleties, do they?
It does seem to go up a notch. It seems as soon as we get to the point where he's on top of all that fire, which looks really good, and he's on the hover bike, it's like suddenly it's like, right, now everything's going to happen. You meet with the aliens, and you got all the business in space and shooting and all this business. So yeah, it suddenly goes from kind of zero to hero very quickly.
There's so many... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say I liked it. I thought the one thing that I took away from it actually is I love the music. I love all that music on the when they're walking, exploring around. You've got that sort of weird, twinkly sort of spooky music.
Yeah, that is good, isn't it? Yeah.
Also, I had no idea that Robert the Robot, who I'm sure is a bit of a take on, is voiced by Jerry Anderson.
We did talk about that last week. You know.
Oh, well, I didn't listen. There we go.
Honest enough.
I just forgot, clearly. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But he does look like he's made of yogurt pots, doesn't he?
See-through ones. Yeah.
See-through yogurt pots, yeah.
Yes, I'm amazed by, there I would say about 20% of the sort of spaceship shots work really well, and then the rest of them, the models jiggle all over the place and you can see the strings. And I would say about 10% of the puppet shots, you can't see the strings. And then the rest of them, they're like bloody great wires you just can't ignore. But it's not about that. They didn't mean you not to see the strings. They meant you to be caught up in the story. The story's not troubled by sophistication in any way. And it's all a bit about, I've got a secret gun and I've got it and now I'm going to kill you all. And, Also, I thought there was a touch of some sort of borderline racism about the aliens. They look
that's
like
a given,
sort
isn't
of
it?
caricatures of racial types. It's sort of
Of course.
and the fact that they're just nasty because they don't look like humans. They don't look like us, so they're nasty. It's a very unsophisticated narrative.
It's the same with Stingray, isn't it? It's the exact same sort of vibe there, really. But
yes, that's true.
Different time, early 60s, different time, maybe might have been more acceptable then.
Oh well, totally. That kind of.
Now you watch it and you see right through it all, and you look and you think, oh, I don't know, I just don't know. But interesting thing about the strings, because I always used to get annoyed when people talk about Thunderbirds and stuff. They'd always say, "Oh, I can see the strings, though. I remember that you could see all the strings." And my memories of Thunderbirds is that I thought the strings were pretty well concealed. And I think that obviously you can see them.
And in colour, it was easier, wasn't it? In a bizarre way, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think in this, it's, you can see the strings. Absolutely, you can see. There's little techniques like, where they used to film, later on they'd film the spaceships upside down. So you're not looking for the strings. And by this point, they hadn't thought of doing that. So you can see it more. But you know what? I think it's great. And spoke to my dad about it, and he said he used to love it because the main character was called Steve Zodiac, and because my dad's name is Steve, he was a kid, and he just said I wanted to be Steve Zodiac because he was a Steve. So there we go.
So how many exclamation marks are you giving it out of 5?
I'm going to give it a 4 because I really like it. But
it gets 3 for me because
it deserves a 3 because it's middle of the road. It is what it is. But I'm going to give it that extra star because I just like it. I think it's a bit of fun.
Okay, now let's introduce Shelley Dean to us. Let's reach out across the ocean. Here she comes. So we are now officially joined by Shelley Dean. Hello, Shelley.
Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome to the Benji and Nick Show.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
And she's got up insanely early. Actually, no, you do get up insanely early.
I get up, yeah, I do. I'm a morning person, so.
Well, Benji and I have had a little chat about 5 or XL5. Now, I know that you have no cultural connection with shows like this. I know you're into Doctor Who, which is how we met.
Right.
Actually, could you just explain that to people, how we met?
How we met?
Yeah.
I work for a Doctor Who convention on Long Island called LI Who, and I'm a guest liaison, and I got to work with Nick when he was a guest at our convention. So that's how we met, and then subsequently, any American convention he does, I now travel to and be his guest liaison.
Yes, and it makes the experience much better for me. I have to say, selfishly.
Yeah, well.
I'd also, before we talk about 5 or XL5, in the interest of vanity, I'd like to explain to you, Shelley, you're seeing me on a different camera, which makes me look like I'm an alcoholic or sunburnt. So I'm sorry about that.
Well, your cheeks are a little rosy. That is definitely...
It's not what I look like. It's just, I don't know why it does it. And no one else looks weird on this camera. Steph came on, she just looked normal. I thought, what is it? What's it detecting in my face that the other camera doesn't?
Yeah, it's like a heat, one of those cameras that records heat or the
Thermal
temperature.
ray.
So, yeah, thermal camera. That's what it's called.
It's like one of those, the weathermen that have those when they wear checkered suits, and then it used to go all crazy where the checks just wouldn't work with the camera. Maybe that's unique. Maybe it's whenever you come into contact with this particular webcam, your cheeks become checkered suits.
That must be exactly it. Thank goodness one of us is a scientist.
Yes.
So yeah, Shelley, come on, Fireball XL5. Have you seen any Jerry Anderson stuff before?
I mean, I know Thunderbirds. That's just, it's not in my, purveyance of what I've watched in my life, but I am aware of it. So Fireball XL5 was a complete, I had never heard of it ever in my life.
Okay.
So,
first impressions when you put it on.
First impressions, well, funny enough, I couldn't find it because the UK BritBox is different than the US BritBox.
Yeah.
I have BritBox, but it doesn't have that on there.
Yeah.
So I ended up finding it on YouTube, started watching it, and it was color and it was computer animated. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, I know this is from the early 60s. What is happening? And so I got like 10, 15 minutes into it, and I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And so it turns out it's a remake. I guess they remade the entire series with this colorized animation.
Well, not officially, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it's all of them are on YouTube. So
I've got to find this now. I'm quite intrigued.
I can see Benji looking now.
It's actually way more disturbing than the original. It's very upsetting to watch it. But then, so I found the original and started watching it, and first impressions absolutely blew my mind at the technicality of these puppets.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I couldn't even believe that it was something that was made in the early 60s. And, the advanced, aspect of these puppets. And then I did the research and found out that Jerry Anderson developed this, I don't even know what it was called, like sonic something that goes inside the head of the puppets, and it makes the mouths move with the actors' voices.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, isn't it?
It blew my mind. So
he was very proud of that, Jerry Anderson, that he invented that.
It was really cool. Just the way it worked was really
game changing,
cool. So,
really, in terms of television, isn't it?
Yeah. And then second impression was that, the only familiarity I have with that style, with the marionettes being main characters was obviously the Team America World Police.
Yes.
That the South Park guys made that movie here in America. So that, for people here, that was really what I knew of the kind of style of animation.
Yes, yeah. They remind me when Jamie comes on, because Jamie Anderson will join us shortly.
Okay.
Because his father was Jerry Anderson,
right.
But he's our mate anyway, as you well know. He has a story. I don't know how he'll tell it for a family audience. He has a story about, because everyone kept going on about Team America, and so Jerry Anderson decided to watch it, and he has a story about his father's reaction to it, which might be of some interest. So we give it exclamation marks out of 5. How many exclamation marks would you give it out of 5?
I would say 4, because I actually enjoyed it. I was expecting total cheese. I was expecting, just something very, I don't even know what I was expecting, to be quite honest, because I don't watch stuff from that early.
Yeah.
But I, like I said, I wasn't thrown off by, I thought I would be more upset by having to watch puppets.
Yeah.
But they're really, the way they shot it, the way it was, you kind of forgot for, a second that this was just puppets doing stuff, because they shot it really interestingly. There was one specific thing with the Professor Maddock. They did like a close up on his face, and his glasses are like those, what we call, I don't know if you call it Coke bottle glasses, where it makes it looks like magnifying glasses. So it just, that little attention to detail just really made me, it got me. So
they could have always
but I
been
enjoyed
Coke
it.
bottles, couldn't they?
Yeah.
What do we call that? We just call them bottles, don't we, Benji? What do we say?
I suppose, bottles.
Milk
or
bottle.
Milk bottles, or I suppose you can call them bins, don't you? Like
Bins.
people say he's got his bins on, that big old. Yeah, I mean, you just say somebody's got they've got these massive glasses, like magnifying glasses.
Yeah, they make your eyes bigger than they are.
Well, I'm impressed by what you say because it's so positive. I half expected you to go, "What are you making me watch? What is this drivel?"
That's how I felt when I was watching the colorized computer animated remake.
I've just had a look at this. It's really scary, isn't it?
It's terrifying.
I mean, it's done quite well, but it is scary.
It's very. I was like, as I was watching it, I was like, what is this? But then,
Benji, could you message me a link to it? And I just want to react to it.
I'll whack it in the. Can you access it via the chat in Zoom?
I could.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
It is very scary.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
But they're using the actual audio from the original show, so
yeah, it's really loud as well. Clone 7 real-time 3D animation. It looks a little bit like they did a CG version of Dan Dare a few years back, and it looks a bit like that.
Maybe it's the same person.
Yeah.
God, that monster with the eye is absolutely terrifying.
Animated in color. Yeah, okay. Well, I've got the gist of that. Thank you. I find that it's interesting in the light of having seen the black and white, but seeing that first, that must have been
right. So you can see where my, absolute confusion was.
Yeah. I'm just going to remind Jamie Anderson that I've invited him. And while we're waiting, oh no, he's arrived now.
That's the end of that.
He had his finger on the trigger.
He just said, "I'm in your area."
I was. Hello.
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 That's Shelley. Can you see Shelley?
Hi, Jamie.
Hello, special guest Shelley.
She's
Nice
going to
to
be
meet
special and regular guest. Shelley, you better tell Jamie what you thought of Fireball XL5.
I really liked it.
Wow.
I really, really liked it. I was saying how I did some research after I watched it and discovered what your father did with the, I don't know what it's called, sonic, the thing in the head of the puppets that coordinates the mouth movement.
The word that I've forgotten as well now, weirdly.
It's sonic something, right. So I was expecting...
Solenoid.
I don't even know
Sorry. Solenoid. Yeah. That was it.
Oh, is that what it is? I wasn't even sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't that, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought, as I said to the guys before that, for a second you kind of forget you're watching puppets.
It's the magic of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's saying all the right things. Can I just check that you're not being deliberately over polite?
He slipped you a $5, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that Shelley had cracked out the Britishism of not bad. She's not technically what I think of as an American ism, but thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome.
She spent too much time with British people.
Yes.
Jamie, can you give us any inside info on Fireball XL5? Any interesting facts? Look, he's screwed up his face already. Look, don't ask me anything serious.
Well, you know the old spacesuit conundrum and solution thing, don't you?
What's
you
that?
probably do, but your listeners might not, possibly.
What's that?
Well, so, a man who is known to all of you, and I'll reveal the name at the end, who worked in the industry, had a tour around the studios, the AP Film studio, when they were starting production of this. And he'd seen Supercar, and he met with Dad, and Dad was walking around. And he said, the only problem is we're going to have terrible trouble with the helmets for the spacesuits because of the strings and whether we have something where we slide it up the strings but then it'll fall down, and if we have to detach and rewire, it's just going to be a complete nightmare. And that visitor said, well, why don't you just say, I don't know, they take oxygen pills and then they don't need spacesuits. And Dad went, oh, what an amazing idea. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Anyway, but that visitor was Terry Nation.
Wow,
so
I
the
didn't
oxygen
know.
pills in Five Bucks of Five were entirely his idea. I should add to, if anyone's listening for the Nation Estate, Terry said that that you can have that one on me. There's no copyright element.
Yeah, he didn't say that,
here.
but we're saying he said that. Yeah,
that's what it says in the official authorized biography. So.
Thus revealing part of Terry Nation's complete lack of knowledge about space, where he also
science in general.
Where he also used to interchange the words galaxy, universe, and solar system as if they all meant the same things.
It's all the same thing, isn't it? Yes, the black bit with stars in it. That's it.
We will take over the universe. First, we will invade Pluto.
This is not the first time as well that he clearly thinks that everything can be solved with pills. The doctor's on Skaro dying of radiation.
Yeah.
It's all right. We just got these radiation drugs you can take. A couple of pills, you'll be fine.
Radiation
in the morning.
gloves, surely. He says.
Gloves, yes. Anti-radiation gloves. Yeah, apparently that solves it.
Well, in the 1960s, everything was solved with a tablet, wasn't it? That was the newfangled thing. Food was going to be tablets in the future, wasn't it?
Food in pills as well.
I'm so glad it's not, though.
Yes.
Can you imagine if we were living in the future and it was just tablet food?
Depends if it tastes nice, though.
Jamie and I wouldn't be able to have those food porn conversations we have.
No, exactly. Oh God, I'd love a burger pill and a chip pill right now.
Well, it's like everlasting gobstoppers from Willy Wonka.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. I would
There you
happily
go.
munch on an everlasting hamburger.
There you go. You get the hamburger, you get the chips, you get the milkshake, everything, all in order in your everlasting gobstopper.
That is a better approach than the pills, to be fair.
But then maybe you could mix the whole pills up. I mean, when you're having a roast dinner, for example, you could have one that's roast beef, one that's roast chicken, one that's lamb, one that's pork, and a nut roast. All in one mouthful
Amazing.
at the same
a pill
time.
carvery, Benji. Is
Yeah.
that what you're proposing here?
I suppose that's exactly what I'm proposing. Yes.
God, I'm not sure if Toby Carvery will ever be the same.
No, it's I'm just thinking it's a bit like the food machine in the TARDIS in the William Hartnell days, where you take one bite and it's the eggs and that's the bacon, and that's the burger, and that's the nut roast, and that's the chicken, and now blancmange, and
Bird's mess.
Taste of bird's mess. What is bird's mess? I don't know. You want to go there? Bird's mess, I imagine, is quite fishy, isn't it? Yeah. No, I'm thinking of seagulls. I'm sorry, I'm talking about poo.
He's gone mad. The man's gone mad.
Listen, Shelley, you look that up. Shelley, what I want to ask you is, I was going to ask you before Jamie arrived, is, your upbringing would be, sort of like American, whereas ours isn't.
Sort of like American?
I particularly admired the way you said chips rather than fries, just so that we'd understand.
I spend way too much time with you Brits. I really do.
What were the most important TV shows to you when you were a kid growing up? And will we have heard of any of them?
Saturday morning cartoons, was because obviously, you had 3 channels and that was it.
Yeah,
I always say to my daughter, back in my day, I always, we had 3 channels, and if you wanted to watch, say, Wizard of Oz, it came on once a year, and that's when you got to see it. And if you had to go to the bathroom or anything, you had to go during a commercial because you couldn't pause it. Yeah. But the old Standby, Bugs Bunny, and any of those, the Warner Brothers cartoons, and it's funny because I can't even think of there was, what was that show? It was Banana Splits, I think it was called.
Had that. We had Banana Splits, and that had cartoons in it, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was like Sid and Marty Krofft did some sort of, kids show. When I was really little, Mr. Rogers, obviously, good old Standby.
What's that?
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, they just did a movie with Tom Hanks playing him.
Oh, that nice bloke. That's just a really nice
with
man.
the sweater and the shoes and the, welcome to my neighborhood.
We never had that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was really my first, experience of puppets being characters. And that was actually something when I was watching Fireball XL5, I thought, this is a little bit more advanced than the puppets. Because on Mr. Rogers, it was, the hand up the puppet talking,
right.
with
Bit of a
with
sooty
the
and
fingers.
sweep sort of affair.
Yeah.
There are puppets.
Yeah. I bet Shelley doesn't know about Sooty and Sweep, though.
No,
No.
I just smile and nod.
You've got to just
British.
go, what are you talking about? Yes, that's fun.
Well, that would be half the conversation when you guys go on your little things. I'd be like, wait, what? What? What was that? What?
Shelley, did you ever watch Gilligan's Island?
Oh, yeah.
Because it seems like Gilligan's Island, everywhere I go, it's everybody's always like, I love Gilligan's Island. But then it never really took off over here.
I've
But
never
everywhere
seen
else.
it. Yeah, no, I've never seen it.
It was the most ridiculous concept of a show, but we loved it.
What was the concept?
The concept was there was this vagabond group of people who went out on a boat on a 3-hour cruise.
Right.
But for some reason, they had piles of luggage and all sorts of things that, would suffice if you're going to get stranded on a desert island, which they did. But this was a 3-hour cruise, so that was kind of confusing. And, there was also, the rich couple, the bumbling idiot, that was Gilligan, the ship's captain. There was, of course, a professor. And then Ginger, who was the movie star, and Marianne, who was the plain Jane, girl from Kansas or wherever she was from. How any of these people knew each other and ended up on this cruise, no idea, never explained, but and then it was just the adventures of them trying to survive on this island.
Did they resort to cannibalism?
No, surprisingly, no. The professor, because they had the professor. He, was the genius, and he got to figure out how to turn coconuts into telephones.
With a string between halves.
What a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Did they ever escape?
They did. They did. They got rescued.
It was a finite
They've ruined the
series
ending
then.
now.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how many years it went, but it went for a while, and there was lots of guest stars, which was very, because this is supposedly an island that you can't get to, and somehow, some way, people just kept showing up on their island, and then they got rescued, but the Gilligan's Island people didn't get rescued. So
I just love the idea that somehow everybody's on there like, we're never going to escape. How are we going to try and escape this week? And then literally, here's John. He's just come over from presumably the place which we can't get to, even though he can just pop back there later. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's William
I guess it's like a
Shatner this week,
Wakanda.
yeah.
It was the early version of Wakanda. You can only get to it from however you get there.
I don't know. What's that, Wakanda?
From the Avengers.
Oh, is
Where
that,
the Black
yeah,
Panther, Wakanda.
Yes, I have seen that. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Sorry. See?
I do know something about modern stuff. Well, that's it. I've never had. I only know Gilligan's Island. The first time I heard it referenced was in Galaxy Quest, where those aliens believe everything they see on television. And they say Gilligan's Island is a TV show, and they go, "Oh, those poor people."
Yeah.
So they believe what's happening in Gilligan's Island.
And weirdly, linking you back to Fireball XL5.
Yes.
The walk the aliens did in Galaxy Quest was based on the puppet walk in Fireball XL5.
Was it really?
How
They
peculiar.
even set up an alien walk school by a choreographer who studied Fireball XL5 to get the puppet walk right.
Wow.
An alien walk school?
Yeah. I mean, they set it up specifically. I don't think it existed before then. There's no diplomas.
There's a job for everyone.
Too
Love
right.
that with all the qualifications. Yeah, what did you do? I went on to get a doctorate in brain surgery. What about you? Oh, yes, well, I've set up a business in sharpening pencils. How about you? Well, I can walk just like those aliens from Fireball XL5. Absolute master. And I can talk like R2-D2, but I've only got a foundation degree in that. It's not a full degree.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there was always someone, and Doctor Who, when it came back, there was a lady who used to teach people how to do the the Cyberman walk or the Scarecrow walk, and they were all very drilled and choreographed. That's not interesting, but it is true. And just this is the point where we try and work out what we're going to do next week. Shelley, could you nominate something that we should watch next week?
All right, what about Happy Days?
Happy Days, the Fonz.
I remember Happy Days very well.
Did you guys have it over there?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
Have you ever heard of a
Happy Day? Yeah, we can do
sitcom
Happy
called
Days.
Come Back, Mrs. Noah, by the way?
Pardon, say again?
Have you ever heard of a sitcom called Come Back, Mrs. Noah?
I haven't.
Why?
I'm not saying you should do it now, but I was just looking up the worst sitcoms ever made, and it comes out as number 1, starring Molly Sugden as housewife Gertrude Noah, who in the year 2050 wins a cookery prize to visit Britannia 7, the UK's new space exploration vehicle.
Oh, God.
We must do Come Back, Mrs. Noah sometime.
Sorry, not now though.
All right, well, let's Benji, Shelley and I watch Happy Days. Episode
you
1.
Can't do that.
Jamie never participates. He's too busy.
Oh.
Well, I do in spirit.
He just comes on at the end and says, "I've never heard of that." No.
Well, before we end, I do want to say one thing about my Fireball XL5 experience.
Uh-oh.
The theme song.
Yes.
I wish
The
I
greatest
was a spaceman.
thing I've ever... I downloaded it. I've been playing it. I have the lyrics. I'm in love with this song. But I need to know, and maybe Jamie, you can answer this question. How is that song in any way connected to a sci-fi show?
Well, I wish I was a spaceman.
The
Okay,
fastest
other than
guy
the
alive.
lyrics.
I'd fly you round the
Round the
universe in
universe.
My
Fireball
heart
XL5.
My heart is a fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Fireball.
not in the show. That bit they cut that.
Oh,
first
it's
bit.
not?
That's not
Yeah.
strictly canon, no. And in fact, a fireball is a cocktail, isn't it? A gin,
Yes.
gin, vodka, and drambuie or something over ice. So that's why I guess it gives you heartburn. So maybe it's a statement on his gastrointestinal sufferings.
I mean, the second
all
verse
making
says,
sense.
although I'm not a spaceman or something, doesn't he say?
He
Well, I
wishes
can
he
tell
was,
you,
though.
I have the lyrics
Okay.
right here.
Let's get it right now.
I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive.
I'd fly
you around the universe in
Fireball
Fireball XL5, which,
Right.
by the way, that lyric connection,
Yeah.
fastest guy alive, rhyming with Fireball XL5,
Smart,
brilliant.
isn't it?
Way out in space together,
Together,
conquerors
under
of the sky. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball. Every time I gazed into your starry eyes.
Amazing, isn't it?
We'd take the path to Jupiter, and maybe very soon we'd cruise along the Milky Way and land upon the moon.
How would you, if you went across the Milky Way, you'd be the wrong blooming end to land on the moon. Anyway, come on.
Exactly.
Did
To a
Terry
wonderland
Nation
of-
write this?
I was about to say that. It's definitely a Terry Nation song.
They took a pill. That's how they did it. We'd cruise. Okay, to a wonderland of stardust. We'd zoom our way to Mars. My heart would be a fireball, because you would be my Venus of the stars.
Ba, 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 ba. And now, here we go.
But though I'm not a spaceman, famous and renowned, I'm just a guy that's down to earth with both feet on the ground. It's all imagination. I'll never reach the skies. My heart is still a fireball, every time I gaze into your starry eyes.
I'm quite
Ooh,
moved.
lovely.
Dun, dun,
Beautiful.
dun, dun,
Just
dun,
beautiful.
dun, 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 dun. It's very like poppy.
It's actually quite. I don't think I've ever heard it read in a female
Like-
voice before. No, that weirdly, because these shows are so heavily male skewing.
Yeah.
It's quite an
Wow.
unusual experience. So thank you, Shelley, for
You're very welcome.
opening our ears to that.
Thank you for your female voice.
Very welcome.
It's a whole
Bring
new
on the
perspective.
female voice.
And hopefully this recording that I'm doing doesn't sound like yesterday when I did sound like a man. So
She got the bit rate was wrong.
yeah, I was talking like this.
You'll fit right in round here. That's fine.
Well, if it does go wrong, technically, Benji was sorted out. Thank you very much, Benji.
Yes, Benji will fix it. He'll fix everything.
Again.
So anyway, that's what
Always.
we're going to be watching for
All right,
next
so
week's
Happy Days.
Happy Days, the first episode.
Happy Days.
There we go. It's that time to get close to the microphone, but Shelley's already very close to the
I'm
microphone.
all
You can't go any closer. And I just want to remind people to write into podcast@nicholasbriggs.com if you want to send us an email. We'd love to read it and reward you with our love and care and stupid answers. But from me, Nick Briggs, it's goodbye.
From me, Benji C, it's good be.
For me, Shelley Dean, it's bye-bye.
Get on with it, Anderson.
I can hear him. I think
Did you
Couldn't
say
hear him.
anything? Why aren't you saying anything
it's just
now?
mute. I can't hear you. Have you
You're
muted
actually
yourself?
mute. Can't hear
No.
you.
Nope.
It's like
How about now?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
What did you
I-
do?
I'll show you what I did. I leant in
Yeah.
and I said, and from me, it's Happy Days next week. And as I leant in, the pop shield pressed onto the mute button.
Oh no!
What?
So I was temporarily muted, but now you've got that, you can cut it in. So that's it.
No, I'm leaving it all in.
Perfect.
Thanks, make me seem technically inept. Bye.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk. So we just have to say that bit. Good.
And
Well,
then
then
I hit my stop.
You can hit your stop.